So a theoretical construct cannot have a desire. See what I'm saying? Okay, let me explain. So she says that, but it seems like the construct of the body and the construct of these thoughts has a particular desire. And sometimes we use these words in satsang that the body mind is the one that desires it. But what is body mind? Body, set of sensations and some visuals. Yes. Thoughts, also another set of sensations, energy constructs. Suppose that you did not even have the notion of the body. Just the sensation is there. Right now some sensation would be there. Yes? And suppose you did not have the notion of mind. Just some thoughts come and go. Now what happens?
What's the question?
So I'm saying we don't create any notion of body or mind. There's just a set of sensations. And sensations includes that which we call thoughts. They are coming and going, these sensations. Does it ever create a tangible entity or the person or the ego?
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
But you were saying, what is it that has a desire?
Yes.
So there's no tangible entity. But it seems like in this play, there's still this body mind performing
Yes.
activities in the
Yes.
particular circumstance,
Yes.
let's say. So this body mind construct is projecting the desires.
It is consciousness's belief that I am limited to this body mind.
Yes.
Is it? Which means that it is your belief because you are this consciousness. Believing itself to be limited in some way as the body mind. But actually for you, what is the true position of the body and the mind?
It's just an appearance.
Just appearances. So if it is clear that they are appearances and I am the unchanging one, now what happened?
Suffering comes when there's some resistance to something.
Yes, but what does it mean by resistance?
Desire to not have it in a particular way.
Yes. And can that desire seem valid from your true position? It's only when we consider ourselves to be limited in some way, contained in the body mind, then can a desire make sense? Name a desire. Either I'm right or there is a but. But what is the but which still has power? Now, if pain is there and it is left unsupported by any interpretation or any resistance like the idea that it should not be there, how much space within you it is taking? Even this very large pain, which can seem so large right now in this situation, when you actually check how much of the space is it taking up, just look and tell me. Don't be in denial of the pain. Accept it, allow it, completely open to it. But just see if you can find its actual strength. Just the pain by itself. Who is it overwhelming? So suppose pain is experienced. whose pain is experienced in the heart or something. It's not the physical heart. It's like the emotional heart. But either physical or emotional is contained within the same space of consciousness. Finding this, what are the limits of this space? If if you want to be reckless and say, even if more came, this pain, how much more has to come to overwhelm this space where you run out of space?
Fear is coming.
Fear also same way. So pain and fear, two friends are there together in the playground. How big is the playground?
It doesn't have any size.
Doesn't have size. So if everything was multiplied a few hundred times, too much? Or for you, would it still in reality continue to be just a speck as you remain with your insight and check really for what it is? You will find that your being is infinite. That's why the master says, if I could take the entire pain from all my children, in fact, not just my children, if I could take the entire humanity's pain, it would be not no trouble. Because the recognition of this infinite being, in this it is seen that none of this can actually hurt the reality of my being. So this being itself is unlimited. Once we lose the notion that it is contained within this body, you're starting to find your true being. And then you will see for that who is aware of this being, that which is aware of even this being, for that, although any spatial comparison or metaphor does not really work, we can say that even this being is just a speck of light compared to the absolute you, to the eternal you. The dynamic aspect is just an aspect, and yet the dynamic aspect itself can contain the entire universe, does contain the entire universe. What must you be? You are this Shiva. Now, this Shiva wanted to be entertained. I know some parts of the play can seem like they're not so entertaining. Shiva wanted to be entertained. Okay? See if you can recognize the story about yourself. It is not fiction, right? It is fiction to the extent that to Shiva even we cannot use the term entertain, but that much leeway we'll take. So Shiva wanted to be entertained. Now this Shiva is all there is, everything. And that all there is just an aspect of it. Now Shiva said, I am all there is. Now how to play, how to be entertained. If I continue to see that I am all there is, and actually in reality I am much beyond even that, then how can I bring some drama into my life? What would you have to do? First, you would have to believe that you are not the unlimited one. As long as you are the unlimited one, and no possibility of this kind of play, soap opera, not possible. So first we must believe ourselves to be something which has a boundary, something which has a limitation. Now, whether you're ready for this or not, you are Shiva, right? Now you are Shiva. You are Shiva. Now play. You cannot play without a notion about yourself. You are Shiva now. You cannot have a grievance, you cannot have a regret, you cannot have pride, you cannot have specialness, you cannot have remorse, you cannot have guilt, you cannot have anything that we describe as suffering unless you pick up a notion about yourself. No pain is too much for you, no pleasure gets you attached to it. All is allowed to come and go. It is true. How can I say these things? Because I see this and we are one, just playing as if we are separate. Now, Shiva, tell me, without a notion about yourself, what troubles you? Notionlessly, do you exist or not? Is your existence here or not? Is your perception functioning normally or not? Sounds are being heard, visuals are being seen. Existence is just effortlessly here. With me now? With me. Effortlessly, your existence is here, and all that is called the natural functioning of life is functioning. Now, what you need a notion for? To run your life? Your life is not running in this moment. Breath is happening, heart is beating. If food is needed, food will show up. Try it. But you can't try it with a sense of arrogance. Yeah, I'm going to. Then God will make sure it doesn't show up. You see, if you leave it alone, then whatever is needed for God's own sustenance of God has to show up because all is in service to God. But if you try to make it a trick from your individuality, then it doesn't work like that. It's not a cheat code in this game. You are aware of your existence. This awareness is the absolute. Is there a person sitting there? Is the one who has to do something sitting there? Is the one that wants something sitting there? Nothing is there except your very existence, which contains all things. A few moments of open checking will make this completely apparent to you. If you check without a preconceived notion that this is too much, I must be something contained in this body, but how can the world be within me? If you're playing with all these concepts, then it can seem to take longer. But ultimately, all these concepts will be discarded. If you just check, you will find that, like the entire dream is contained within you, all this that you're perceiving is also contained within you. All that you used to define as your limit is now being seen as false. If you still have a notion about you, then it can seem like a very strange concept. But how can everything be within my body? I'm not saying it is within your body. It is your body sensations which are also experienced within your being, within your existence. Where are these words being heard? Where is the sound of the traffic being heard? Same place as the body is being experienced. And you are aware of this. Can any content in this come and make a scratch on this awareness? No matter how strong a fire it is, how sharp a sword it is, can it leave any residue on that which is aware of your existence? Now, don't try to be that. Because if you try to be that, you first invent something which is not that. If you want to try something, try to leave that. Don't be aware. Leave awareness aside. Who can do it? Only this you cannot leave. even your very sense of existence, being, will be left aside when you are done. When you are done with the experience of existence. But that which witnesses, the primal witnessing, that does not come and go. But what drama is here? Nothing. I cannot be hurt, I cannot be scratched, I cannot be dented, I cannot have any attribute about myself in reality. For any of this, first I must exist. So existence comes. I am. I playing as I am. And no trouble even now. If you had no ability to attach any attribute to yourself, I am something, if that was not a possibility, if you could not say I am the body, I am my name, I am anything, then also show me any trouble. You could not attach I am something, you could not attach I am nothing also. Nothing you can attach. First, you must pose as something. You must put on the mask of something, the pretense of something. Only then a trouble can seem real. You see? I know I've spoken for 1 hour already, but just stay with me on this point. Tell me whether you see it or not. Unless I pick up the idea I am something, suffering is a alien concept. This much is seen. This is the main point of satsang. Because in this, the absolute truth is also apparent. So as you're seeing this, don't worry about the absolute. It is not going anywhere. Just notice this much about yourself, that unless I pick up the idea I am something, which is usually the idea I am the body, or usually the idea that I am the body mind. Unless I have this premise, this basic notion, no other notion can trouble me. Huh? So, no money in the bank, no money in the bank. Unless you have a notion that you are this body mind, can it trouble you? Huh? No partner in life, or terrible partner, not good enough. Unless you are the body mind, can this notion trouble you? Not finding freedom, not coming to freedom, not finding enlightenment. Or even the favorite one, which is I see it, but I can't stay in it. I have to stay in it. Not being able to do that, can it trouble you unless you have the notion that you are a body mind? God is not being able to stay in it. Is it? So there must be a limited notion that God is playing with before you can pick up any other notion which seems to be causing any trouble. That is why this is direct satsang, where we attack this notion that you are something directly without getting into whatever the seeming trouble might be, because we know that actually the only trouble is this. Okay. So now you have this infection. I am something. What to do? Suppose you have this infection that I am something. I am the body mind. What to do? Now you're unraveling the entirety of spirituality. Considering that you have this notion, the sages have said either surrender it or inquire into it, or both. Now, whatever you consider yourself to be, hand it over right now, this moment. Whatever that something might be, just leave it here. That is called surrender. Some who are of a devotional temperament, some who are open that way, can say, yes, done, forgotten, gone. Some who are not of this temperament then can say, no, no, but it is too sticky. I end up believing it over and over. So those can do the inquiry. I am something. Who is the I that is something? I am not good enough for freedom. Who is the I which is not good enough for freedom? If you pop the grenade of this question in your being, and then you leave this question unmolested by your expectations, unmolested by what should happen, unmolested by are we there yet, you will find that it will clean up. This grenade will explode everything that you're holding on to. Then you will find that whether it was the seeming surrender or it was the seeming inquiry, it is just this notion I am something which was dropped away, and just I am remains. Now, if surrender or self inquiry don't seem to be, there's not much resonance happening with that, then some different methods can be prescribed, like mantra, like Hatha Yoga, Kundalini, all these paths can be prescribed, but that's not usually what happens in our satsang. Here, the feeling is to more share about this. So, you find most of what is in satsang is surrender, and a lot of it is about inquiry. And a little bit can seem like it is about both. But actually, it is just about removing this notional something and seeing that this being is completely complete. It is that which is the container of the universe. It is not contained in it. And ultimately, you will see that even this being is a coming and going. The reality of what I am is even before I am. Nothing has to be done here. As you drop the notion of something, then even this absolute truth is very apparent to you. And the best news is that in this moment, completely fresh, if I don't give you a moment to think about it, you are not something. And when I do give you a moment to think about it, what is usually the mind saying? But that is called a doubt. At some point, something moves away from these petty doubts of the mind, and you allow yourself to taste your own magnificent being. That is why to you I say, don't exchange your magnificent being for any idea about yourself, no matter how good it sounds. That is it. That is spirituality. Now, whether to remove that something, you are just bringing all your attention to your breath all the time, that which the Buddhists might call mindfulness, or you're chanting a mantra, or you're doing some other practice. It's all about this. Because all the sages, no matter which path they have been, have found that the only way for suffering to come is to first pick up the notion that I am something.